All right. Well, a march on the nation's capital on September 11th is drawing a lot of criticism. Tammy Bruce is here with all the details.
Well, yes, the Million Muslim March in Washington, D.C. is set for the 12th anniversary of the attacks on 9/11. Now, by the way, this the group, the American Muslim Political Action Committee, has organized the march. There was an initial outrage over this, so they changed the name of the march because I guess they figure they're not going to get 1 million Muslims, and maybe it's, of course, also in bad taste to do this on September 11th. They've now changed it to Million American March Against Fear. So it's the ultimate, kind of bait and switch, if you will. But it's going to be interesting, and it tells you everything you need to know about sensitivity and hypocrisy. It's one thing to do this, but it's really, on September 11th, there's a reason why people remain upset. It's not just September 11th, 2001. It's September 11th of 2012. It's the hundreds of terrorist attacks that have killed hundreds, if not thousands, of people since September 11th. It's amazing that it is still this kind of narcissism that they're the victims in this process. Yeah, so they plan on doing this on September 11th. I would love to see it work as well as the Organizing for America rallies. I'd love to see 1 or 2 people show up. That would be fine with me. But it really tells you that at least certainly the organizing groups for Islamists haven't learned a thing and maybe even have been emboldened by this administration and by this government.
Well, if they want to help out for their PR battle, then they need to get people to stop killing innocent people in the name of the religion.
Isn't it simple? Yeah.
The minute that that stops happening is the minute that they are off our radar. I got to be perfectly honest with you. Prior to 9/11, I didn't spend 2 minutes thinking about Islam. I didn't spend 2 minutes thinking about their religion, about Muhammad, about any of that stuff, because it wasn't on my radar. It just wasn't. Didn't know, didn't care. Feel the same way about the Hindus. The only thing I knew about the Hindus was about the character on The Simpsons. That was about it, because I'm not a Hindu, I'm not a Muslim, and the ones that I knew were perfectly nice people, and that was that.
Yeah.
But when you start killing innocent people in my backyard in the name of the religion, suddenly it's on my radar, and suddenly it's in a negative context. And the minute that you get people to stop doing that, and you make sure that people know if that's not the truth about the religion and that's not the true way to practice the religion, and you put your foot down and you insist that people who do that are going to be outcasts and people who do that are going to be turned in internally.
And to say nothing of the date of September 11th, I mean, the ultimate mass murder,
yes, that's really
which
tasteless.
Also killed many Muslims, children, to remind people. It's fascinating. It's almost like they want to rub salt into that wound. Is that how you view this?
I just think they're clueless right now because they're close. There is violence being committed against Muslims every day around the world.
Yes.
It's being committed by Sharia law Muslim countries, okay? If they want to protest at the Iranian embassy, protest at the Egyptian embassy, protest in these places where their own people are committing violence against their own people. I mean, it's happening a lot. It's just not happening from the people they say it's happening. We're not going out and beating up people. This isn't, they're completely clueless right now. They don't, the bottom line is, as you said, they don't stand up for what the real cause is. They don't say, well, this is a fringe, then say it's not a fringe if they're in charge of an entire freaking country,
well,
okay?
You just look at Egypt. I mean, right now, certainly they're going after Christians in Egypt, and they're
targeting,
blowing up churches. However, the policemen they're murdering, there are scores of policemen being killed in the Sinai, the military that they're murdering in the streets, with the backing of the Muslim Brotherhood, or at least certainly the acceptance and blessing of the Muslim Brotherhood. These are other Muslims who are being murdered by Islamists. I mean, this is the nature of the conversation that Muslims need to have around the world and that we need to have. But it seems like nobody's, at least Muslim voices, don't seem to have an interest in promoting that.
No, and it seems like the American government has the philosophy of, if you keep saying religion of peace, religion of peace, religion of peace, religion of peace, that people will start to believe it, despite the fact that every time you open up the newspaper, I mean, just today we're learning more details about the trial of Malik Hassan and all the people who were killed at the Fort Hood massacre, and the more details about how the Army allowed that to happen because of political correctness. And people just throw their hands up and they say, I give up.
The denial at the upper levels of our government is pathological at this point. It's really bad. And that's again, another part of this problem is this conversation is not going to happen as long as the people who are in charge of these kinds of things in our government are pretending it's not happening.
Well, they still maintain that was workplace violence.
Yeah. So, I mean, we get it. I think the average American gets it, especially young people get it when you talk about the next generation of common sense that still can prevail. What we're seeing is the power of the influence of a very few people at the top and what it seems to give other people permission to do.